what's the overall vision? You know what I'm saying for the movement. I don't even want to call it a brand and a clothing brand no more. Like, what is the overall vision that you see for that you and Larry see? You know what I'm saying for 24 Karat. Like, what's the movement continue to look like 5-10 years? You know,
inspiring more people, definitely, not just to like do their own thing, but just to be like confident in their own like self-expression and their own style. And inspiring those values that I talked about. Like, we always, like, it's super dope seeing people wear our clothes, but I think the highest high is when people do something and they be like, man, I was inspired by y'all for real. Like, I was inspired by what y'all do. Tangible, definitely we want to go global, and that again ties to just wanting to impact more people, more collaborations. And also, I feel like now we really getting into like our fashion bag. Like we always did fly stuff, but even now more so than just the tees and hoodies. Like we getting into actual like producing garments, getting samples made, working with manufacturers.
And y'all taking on projects with other people and stuff too. Y'all just did the jacket for VAR and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, collaboration to me is a huge area of focus going forward, and it's super important because we kind of talked about it offline. Like when you collaborate with somebody that's out the box, like something that's not super obvious, like you pay attention to like Kith or NY Carrots, like Kith to collab with Versace and it don't make sense.
Right.
But when you find a common ground in between the two brands, like a whole nother level of creativity evolves out of that. And then I would say the last tangible thing is just more events, you know, more in-person things, because branding in our culture is such an important thing to us. Like we always like touching people and you know.
Yeah, no, that's and man, when you talk about collaboration and you start talking about doing things together, that just only empowers the movement, right?
For sure.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Strength in numbers is how we, you know, create our leverage, you know what I'm saying, across the board, and it just continues to serve us all when we understand the big picture of it. So that's dope, man. Can you break down, like, because again, man, like you talk about your, you know, 24 Karat being a movement, and you know there's the clothing aspect of it and things like that, and I tap into some of the clothing, you know, from the merch aspect of it. I would consider y'all to be way more deeper into the clothing, because I mean y'all been in it, you know, longer than me, but y'all also have, you know, y'all have different visions and different ideas how y'all want to, you know, continue to carry on to it. But like when I know people who reach out to me like, yo, like, how do I do this about going to get my merch? How do I go about this to going to get my logo and things like that? What are like some, like, if you had to give people 3 to 5 like actionable steps that they could take to like starting a brand, but from a clothing aspect, like what are some things that people should do?
From a product development standpoint, communication, it has to be super clear. I don't know if they want to produce in the U.S. or overseas. Overseas, it has to be even another level of clear communication. But you got to over-communicate when you're making something with somebody else and when they doing the actual physical work. So, you know, whether or not that means actually sending them, like, we'll send somebody 2 samples, like one for the cut and another for the fabric. Like, just, you know, it's 2 different samples, but they need to see these different aspects in person, if that makes sense. So clear communication is one. I would say, so fashion is so cash flow intense that the cost in which you make something is super important. And if you got bad margins on one release, that can mess you up for like months, especially starting out.
That's a fact.
Especially starting out, if your pockets ain't deep enough to, you know, carry on. So knowing what you want to sell at and how much you want to make before you pay for anything.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
And I think those are the main 2. You know.
Yeah. That's a super fact. I had to learn that the hard way. I got way too many T-shirts back in the summertime. it wasn't even so much that that I paid too much. I just bought too many, and I overanalyzed like how much I was gonna be able to get off, and I got off a decent amount of number, but I got like 120 of them.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And
oh, that's the worst spot in fashion, holding on to something, because with apparel nowadays too, you can't look like a thirsty brand, so you can't really run sales, at least not at certain price points. If you like a $10 t-shirt brand, then obviously you can, but if once you get to a certain price point, people want your stuff for the exclusivity, and because, you know, they want it to be fly, and to be fly, you can't be rocking a thirsty brand, so you can't really run ads. You can't really, you know, have sales. So once you get stuck with product, you just kind of stuck with it. So,
exactly.
You know, we always try to like leave people wanting it. Like if we think only 50 people want something, we only gonna produce, you know, 25 of them. It is what it is.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good, man. That's good.